Hey, True Believers England team here with back issue bring. No, that way. There we go. All right.
Over here. Good evening.
Yeah, there you go. All righty. So we're going to talk about something that's going to make us sound like old men. If the look of us didn't actually let you know that we're old men. I think there's damn near 100 years of comic collecting between the two of us, as a matter of fact, to just hammer that home.
Getting close to that.
Right, I know, right? Which is kind of funny because we're going to be talking about pricing. In my day, I remember when I could get everything for $0.25. You know, it's going to sound a little bit like that, but the truth is, in my day, and my days started about the same time as your day. If I remember your stories, you started collecting seriously in the 70s, right?
Mm-hmm.
About 74, 75.
75.
Yeah. Now that's when I started buying comics. Like when my mom and dad or my grandparents, whoever was, why don't you just go to the store, get they just wanted us out of the house. So they would give us a couple of bucks. We could go to the local convenience store. Things are afoot at the stop and go. And I wouldn't waste a lot of money on candy. I wanted to buy the comics. And at the time they were on the spinner racks. And of course that was also the time where you might not, I can't say I'm a collector, because when you're getting off the spinner racks, you don't know if you're going to get every issue of Batman. You might not get Batman 1, 2, 3, 4 because they're the spinner racks. You might get this, and then 3 months later there's another Batman issue. But we were paying, at least from what I remember, we were paying 25 cents, 35 cents in in 74, 75, 76. 74 I was 4 years old, so most of my comic books I was going to the library for, but when we went it was like 35 cents. And go ahead.
No, they say they were $0.25 when I started.
Okay.
Annuals for 50 cents.
Well, excuse me. Okay, I'll have to edit that out. One of the things though is, when I started getting my own money, they were around 35 cents, and I'm going out and I'm picking them up, and that's off of like maybe a $5 or $3, $4 a week allowance, when that was actually money. And you could end up getting 10 comics and still have money left over for soda and candy and all sorts of stuff. $5 a week, ladies and gentlemen, you could get 10 comics. And now, holy Toledo, we're just finding out that DC Comics is going to be making a $5 comic book. Just one is going to be the standard, and some of those books are going to be up to $6 or $5.99 without any extra pages. Because at first they were getting you used to the idea of paying $6 by making it a little thicker, adding a few pages, adding an extra story. But now it looks like DC Comics is plopping that price point right up there to be, in my opinion, unaffordable. What do you have to say about that there?
If the 32-page comic becomes $6, they're done. Simple as that. I've talked about this. There's a price point that you reach that's the make or break point in anything. You go out to shop for a car, you have a budget. There's only so much you're going to be able to or willing to pay for that new car. A house, certain kind of groceries, while you make the decision between getting brand A and brand B. When a comic book becomes $6, that is past that price for a lot of people.
Do you think it's for a lot of people, or just old farts like us?
Oh, no. A lot of people, because now we're talking, because the comic book industry, for some inexplicable reason, tries to compete with live action, be it movies, television, video games, etc. If the price of a comic book is half the price of a movie ticket, instead of getting those two comics, you're going to go to a movie. Comics are going to lose that battle all day long. And like I said, the $5 one is pushing it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not getting anything extra. And $6, like I said, somebody should have, maybe pulled whoever made that decision aside and say, I guess you must really be getting overpaid here, because let me show you how $6 for a 32-page comic can wreck somebody's disposable income budget. I think it's absolute suicide move.
I'm probably one of the biggest defenders of modern day comics for a long time. When we would hear, "Oh, this is dead," I hate that phrase. Dead is dead. I don't like that phrase at all, because, like I said before, Marvel Comics aren't going to die. They're not dead. They're changing. Things are changing. It's just not to our liking for the most part. And at one point in time, now I let my subscription go at my local comic book shop, and so they were like, "Oh, you need to get what you got in there, because we're gonna have to start putting things back." I'm a little bit behind. I'm a couple of months behind, so there are issues and things I was still trying to collect or trying to read, but it felt like a chore now, because I feel like I have to instead of want to buy. So in order to get this big pile of comics down, I dropped every bit of disposable income that I had. I bought about $80 worth of new books. And then I saw what was on the wall. And then I'm thinking, I've got this this pile of new books, which are they're kind of leaving me empty. I'm not getting an exciting feeling about these books anymore. Future State, while I think there were some good titles, it actually was surprisingly better than what I thought it was going to be. Ultimately, I knew it was going to lead to nowhere. And in all honesty, everything I'm hearing about what's coming out of DC now, and I've been reading, I've been catching up and everything. I just read this here. It didn't get me excited. I'm not excited. But on the wall for $90 was the first appearance of Mon-El. And I'm a huge Legion of Superheroes fan, and I just dropped all of this, and I'm looking on that, and I'm like, I think I would have had more satisfaction owning that one comic for $90, knowing it's a Silver Age book, and it will go up in value, but it's one of those grail pieces, if you're a Legion of Superheroes fan, that I would have much rather preferred. Now, how is it that somebody who is a champion of the new books can look at one comic book and say that is more valuable than this entire stack?
It's funny. Before we actually met, I think you jumped on me a time or two over that comics are dead thing. You gave me a few of these back in the day. Now the difference is, you were right from the point at which you were coming from. The comics weren't going to die. However, we're not talking quality, we're not talking character, we're talking simple economics now.
Yeah.
And that's a huge difference. Now, you said that $90 first appearance of Mon-El meant you wished you'd gotten that instead of that pile of new books. Now, DC or Marvel, whatever that stack was comprised of, I know you ended up going in that direction, so Marvel and DC still made some money off of you, or I should say the comic book shop. But either way, the comic book shop was going to get you, because it's either that or the back issue. Now, the audience that they're catering to, that knows Mon-El from season 3 of Supergirl and nothing else, doesn't care, nor do they care about anything else on that wall. And they look at those $6 prices and they just head for the exit and go spend that money on something else. And the comic book industry gets none of that money. So that's something that DC, I never thought I'd see the day where DC just stepped on Marvel's head as far as poor economic decision making.
Absolutely. Considering the way they started Rebirth, they said we're going to have $2.99, and they focus more on story, they focus more on character. People were excited, And let's face it, part of my not wanting the new books versus is the way I've changed my outlook on things. You know, part of that comes from me doing the auctions and the fact that I've got all these really cool books, and for just a little bit, until you bid on those, they're mine. Those are my comics. And I've had some awesome comic books go from me to you, or from me to, and by that I mean the customer. I've had or the viewer, I should say. My customers are my viewers, and I want to show proper respect. I apologize for the customer bit. But and I said the only one that I really regret selling is that Daredevil #7. I know I managed to get another first appearance Power Girl, and I kept that one. But I don't think I'm going to see another $100 Daredevil #7 cross my way. I should have held on to that, even though it was missing the advertisement. But point being is, I've seen these things go through, and all of a sudden these unattainable books stopped being unattainable, I think, and that's part of it. So I do have to admit, my dissatisfaction for buying a whole bunch of new books could also be coming a little bit from my change in mindset, having seen all of these. Because I am doing the auctions, I'm seeing more as, okay, I need to buy this, but I have to buy it at a certain price so I could put it in the auction. Still, say I'm very much like that. So I do have to put a little bit of this on me. I mean, I turned my going to Disney into a job. You know, I don't have time off. Everything I do is in service of making money for the family and such like that. So I get that. But when you price a book at $6, when you price a book at $7, sometimes they were $10. This is a freaking $6.99 preview book. This used to be some crap that they would put out free. It would be at the front. Did you read? Oh, wait, you don't. You're done. Nope. You're not buying. So here's the thing. There's actually a really good Red Hood story in this. Make no bones about that. But the rest of them, there's nothing you're going to get out of this Harley Quinn. Oh my gosh, I love Pamela, and I want to wait for Pamela. There's nothing really crazy great about this outsider story. There's just nothing. Okay, hey, let's tell the grifter. All of this is previews for what's coming. What's coming next. Same thing with that Infinite thing that came out just a couple of weeks ago. That should have been free in a pamphlet to get us interested, but no. Instead, this is $7 freaking. And usually these things are around 10. And I told you before, I'm done. I'm done with the $8.99, $9.99, $10 special. It's ridiculous these days. They've priced themselves out for me, and is what I'm saying. It's just over with. If
Rebirth was 5 years ago,
yeah,
they were still drawing the line at $2.99 for the most part.
Yeah.
By no objective metric are DC Comics better in 2021 than they were in the first year of Rebirth, yet the price has essentially doubled.
Yeah, in 5 years. Yeah, you're right.
In.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In 5 freaking years, the price of DC Comics has doubled.
They have decided that we don't need continuity. Just let whoever's writing whatever book they're writing write whatever they want. I said you can have a competent adult acting Harley Quinn and Batman, and a giddy teenager, pining away for her girlfriend in the other book that she's in. Or she can be looking for Mr. J in the third book. And that's, I guess, what they feel that, their fans want now. But I'll bet you what they also don't want is to pay twice as much for them as they were 5 years ago.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of the people who would be buying these, they haven't been around for the 35-cent issues or anything like that. Or they never had to complain because it went from $1.50 to $1.75.
Yeah, but you know what else? You know what we didn't have to deal with that these people are? $17 for that Big Mac and fries because you use DoorDash.
That's true.
And eventually, that money adds up, and you don't have $6 for every comic that you want. So, and we all know there really is no you. How do I put this, delicately? You can't pirate a Big Mac.
Yeah, that's true.
Just food for thought.
Yeah, and we do have someone sometimes with us saying, "Hey, I just go on over here." I do not endorse it. Can't say I don't exactly participate on it, but I can't endorse it. But that's one of the big problems, because eventually it will drive this into the ground. And by the way, I was going to talk a little bit about this. Unfortunately, it looks like not, because we're reaching the 15-minute mark already on this subject. But I wanted to approach it the same way that Captain Frugal approached this, but instead I'm going to tell you, go over to Captain Frugal's channel and look up the economics. I think it's like the economics of superheroes or comic books or something like that. So check that out. It is one of the best videos you'll ever watch. I'm saying that. It is an incredible video, and it explains how the price of comic books have not been going up at the same rate as the price of our wages. And I know there's this whole 15 thing going on right now, and I think that's really bad, because what's good for one is not good for the other. But considering with my $5 I could buy 10 comics and still have money left over, even when you're talking about now, if I bought the 10 comics, that's $50. That's your entire freaking day after taxes of working.
So Bernie is actually a comic book fan. He champions the $15 an hour wage, so fans can buy almost three DC comics for an hour's work.
Right.
Wow. You look at it in those terms, it gets even nuttier.
It really does. Yeah, I agree. I don't think this is going to be good for the hobby. I know that it's not good for my wallet, and in all honesty, I'm looking at what I've got, and I'm thinking less and less am I excited to pick up and go check out. And the thing is independent comics, I've noticed, have started to do the $5 cardstock cover as well. So
not smart.
No,
now, my first instinct when you broached this topic was how that will affect my LCS, and then I'm thinking they have adapted. I see that now. I mean, I work in the back of the store, and I look up to the front, and I see a flurry of activity every day. It's not comics, it's gaming, it's Pokemon, it's
Pops,
it's D&D, it's everything. But there's very little excitement being generated by the comic book side of things, and $6 a book isn't going to generate excitement. It's going to generate anger, apathy, and exiting.
And the apathy is the worst. Now, we brought it up behind the scenes, so I'll bring it up here. One thing that I would not mind seeing is going the alternate route. Look, if it's the paper and all that kind of stuff, and some people have argued that it isn't, but if it is, if they can cheapen, like just give us the newsprint again and make it a little bit cheaper, I would not mind. Let's save this right here, like they used to in the 80s. And yes, back in my day, if you had a book like this, it was Kingdom Come. It was The Dark Knight Returns. It was the good stuff, or at least the stuff that they felt so proud about that they just had to put in this kind of format. I'm okay with that. But just make sure it's awesome. They also put stuff like Gilgamesh and the Griffin in prestige format too. So not all of them were classic stories. Not bad. I actually liked the Griffin, but the point being is I would love to see it go back to that, but that's just me. I'm a different breed of cat.
You got your line in.
There you go. All right, gang. That's what we've got to say about this. What did you think? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe. I think I'm going to leave the burp in though. Also, don't forget to go on over to Ko-Fi and drop $1 in the till. Help us keep the lights on. Help us keep making videos for you. Thank everybody for already doing that. Like to thank Eric for joining me. And as always, thank you very, very much for watching.
Good night, kids.